Hey Stampers, it's Madeline from the Wonderland and we are back today for Stampin' Sunday. I am going to show you how to make a gorgeous sampler frame using the Share What You Love suite, so stay tuned. Alright, so for Stampin' Sunday today, I am going to show you how to make an awesome sampler frame using the Share What You Love suite. So if you go back to my previous video, which was yesterday on Saturday, I went through the Share What You Love suite and I'm just going to quickly review it again. There are 3 different bundles that you can get. Just Getting Started, A Little More Please, and Gotta Have It All. These are some awesome bundles. I will put this up over on my Instagram and Facebook so that you can see the further details. But starting on May 1st, which is right around the corner, you will be able to see this in my shop. So if you go to the wonderlandstamper.com, you click on Shop Now, you'll be able to see all of these bundles right on the home page of the website starting May 1st. For me, I needed to have the Gotta Have It All. This was $127 and I got everything in here. I got 3 free items. I got the designer series paper. It has everything, and I love it because these are things that are going to be available in the annual catalog, but I'm getting them at a discount price because I'm buying them all at once. And also you get the 3 free things, so it's even better than Celebration, where Celebration you'd get 1 item for every 50. You're getting 3 items for spending $127, so it's really amazing. I think my favorite parts of the Gotta Have It All bundle that you can't get in the other 2 is the designer series paper, which you'll see at work today, and also the gorgeous embossing folder that you'll see as well in our sampler frame today. This is something that you'll get a full month ahead of time of the catalog. You'll get it for the sale price. This is never, ever going to be a bundle again. So you're never going to get this, you know, the free items or the sale price of having it all together. Yes, you'll be able to get most of these things in the catalog, except for the Statement of the Heart stamp, but you'll never get them as a bundle price because they'll have them all separate in the new catalog. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so what I have done before coming on camera is I cut a piece of Very Vanilla at 8 by 10. And then I'm using Post-its again. So this is the way that I do it, just to map out where I'm going to be putting things. It's totally up to you what you want to do for yours. But what I did is I didn't cut my Post-it notes. I want to try a different layout. These are 3 by 3. So I just layered them out into 2 rows that are evenly spaced apart. And then my focal piece is going to be 4 Post-it notes that what I did, I'll show you. This is that gorgeous embossing folder, and I hope you can see the design on camera. It is stunning. I'm so excited. What I did was I laid the Post-it notes across this so that I knew exactly how much space I would need. Okay, so I started at the very top and I just layered them on top of each other to know, okay, this is the size that I need in order to have a piece of paper with this be the focal point on my frame. And I just center it so that it is centered as best as I can, and when I actually do the frame I will be more precise with it. So that's what I did. I know that I'm going to need 6 pieces of 3 by 3 solid cardstock, and then I'm going to cut 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, 6 pieces of those in designer series paper. So what this frame is going to be is really just a showing of all the beautiful designer series paper that's in the Share What You Love suite. So let me bring it out without further ado. This paper is stunning, and I showed you in the video, but you got to see it again. This is thick cardstock. I am shocked at how even more high quality it is than others of their papers. Very, very thick, and it's gorgeous specialty paper. Isn't that stunning? So that's one of them, and we're going to try to use as much as we can. We're going to pick which ones that we want for the sampler frame. They're all nice and thick. Really love them. And this paper will be available and be current for an entire year. We're going to have to use a lot of the ones that are specialty, that have that accent on them. Just beautiful. Oh, look at that. So these are what we're going to be cutting into 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. The solid paper is what's going to be underneath. That's going to be 3 by 3. So we'll use colors that match with this. And our centerpiece, I'm thinking I'm going to do it in mint macaron, because that is my favorite color that came back. I was so excited. Look at that. Love it. Okay, so in the Share What You Love suite, in the Gotta Have It All, you get the huge pack of Designer Series paper. There's so many pieces in there. I think it's 24 of these 12 by 12. And you get a Share What You Love cardstock pack that has all the colors that match with this. So I am going to use just everything that came in this kit. I will be using some extra stamp pads, but other than that, I'm not going to be using anything other than what came in the kit, so that you will be ready to make a project when you get this in the mail. So Rich Raspberry, Old Olive, Grapefruit Grove, and Mint Macaron are the colors that we're going to be using. And so there are 4, so we're going to have to decide back on this what colors we're going to use. First, what I'm going to do is pick what Designer Series paper pieces I want. So like I said, I am going to do all of the specialty papers for sure. So let's get those out. So that's 4 of them. So I need 2 more after that. I love this, so I'll do that. And then we'll do one of this. And I like it. It's going to be very matching, but very different. It won't be totally matching, you know, because all the papers are so different. But that's our point. We're showing off the Designer Series paper on this. So first things first, I am going to speed it up, but I want to go over again one more time what we're going to be doing. These squares are going to turn into solid cardstock. Okay, so I am going to, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do Mint Macaron for 2 of them, Grapefruit Grove for 2 of them, and then Old Olive. Oh, look, it matches the Post-its almost. And then Old Olive for the other 2. So these are the 3 colors I'm going to use. So we're going to cut out 2 in each piece, 3 by 3 squares. Okay, so you should have 6 3 by 3 squares, 2 in each color. And then we're going to take the Designer Series paper that we picked, cut out 1 square from each one of these. That's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Okay, so then you'll end up with 6 pieces of Designer Series paper, 6 pieces of cardstock. So let's get cutting. Okay, so I made a change. I changed the Mint Macaron to Rich Raspberry. So I did 2 Rich Raspberry, 2 Grapefruit Grove, and 2 Old Olive. And the reason I did that is that I am going to do Mint Macaron as the focal piece with the embossing folder. So you'll see that later on. So what I want to do next is I want to show you how I measured out my Designer Series paper squares to save the most paper, okay? So for this last one, and I'm hoping this will all be on the camera, but I'll flip it around if it's not. I layer it at 2 3/4 here, right? I put this down and I'm looking at my clear ruler, and sometimes it's hard to see where the lines are for the quarter. But you're going to bring it down just to that quarter, okay? And then you flip around the paper, okay? So now my square is at the bottom. So I'll flip this around so you can see it on the camera. So see, my cut edge is here at the bottom. And I'm going to line this up again at 2 3/4. And you can, I'm doing it from the bottom just so you can see, but you could do it from the top. put your blade all the way at the bottom and then just come up until you see the line, and then you get your perfect square. Okay, so just an option, you could cut the whole strip, but I like saving the paper, you know, keeping together as much as I can. So I like to do it that way because then I still have my full paper. I don't need to worry about scraps of squares or, you know, strips that are hanging around. And then I put it with the rest of the squares and just make sure that they're all the same, and they are. Okay, so now I need to figure out how big, so I have my cardstock, I have my designer series paper squares. I need to figure out how big this piece is going to needing to be for my embossing image here. All right, so I'm going to line this up right on the edge. All right, so it's 4.5 by, and I love the Post-its because it gives me an easy way to get it stuck down where I need it to be. 4.5 by almost 4.5. So let's see, it's 1, 2, 3/8. So 4.5 by 4 3/8 is what my mint macaron is going to be. So that might sound like gibberish, so let's go through this. So it's going to be 4.5. I am just going to cut fully through. Okay, so 4.5, and then we're going to do 4 3/8. So every line from 4 to 5 is a 16th, and every other line is an 1/8. Okay, so we're at 4 right now. We got to get to 3/8. So we skip 1, 1/8. We skip another, 2/8. We skip another, 3/8. Okay, so we're right at 4 3/8, and we're going to cut because I want it to be the exact size of what image that embossing folder is going to imprint. Okay, so now we have everything pre-cut the way that we want it, right? We have our 4.5 by 4 3/8 piece of mint macaron. I have 2 old olives that are 3 by 3, 2 grapefruit groves that are 3 by 3, 2 rich raspberries that are 3 by 3, and then I have 6 pieces of designer series paper that's all different. That's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. Okay, and you don't have to. You could take this frame and make something else. You don't need to use this product suite if you don't want to. So first things first, I'm going to do it on this side. I need to do the background. So if you watch my sampler frame from the paper pumpkin, I love to give the background a little flair so that it's not just a blank piece of paper. So I am going to use the Love What You Do set. Okay, this has a lot of fun watercolors, leaves, lots of fun options. So I'm going to take out a bunch of these flower stamps. This is going to be, it's going to make up our background here. Okay, so I'm taking out all of them. There's 4 different ones. There's little flowers if you want, but I'm just going to keep it to these 4. You could use I might use the watercolor one. Let's pull that out. Okay, so this is from the suite that you're able to get, Love What You Do. All right, so these are all going to go on blocks just so that they're ready to go. Let me see if some of these will fit on smaller ones. They will. So I'm just getting everything prepped so that when I want to stamp, they're all on blocks for me. All right, so they're all on blocks. First things first, I'm going to pick the lightest color. This is all photopolymer, so you do want to take some piercing mats. I'm going to put 2 together here. You just have to be careful when you're on the crease, just so that I know it's stamping correctly. I'm going to take the lightest color that I think. So I'm going to do mint macaron for the entire background. Okay, so this is my watercolor stamp here. It's like a full background stamp. I'm going to ink it up. We might have to re-ink mint macaron. I haven't used this in a while. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just randomly place this. Okay, so I'm not worrying about neatness, if it all stamped. I am just stamping it down. Most of this is going to be covered, so I'm not that worried about it. And we're also going to be putting flowers on it. I'm just trying to almost like de-stressing the paper. I just don't want it to be a blank palette. Okay. And like this for me is very hard because I like everything a certain way, but I think it's going to work out fabulously. Okay, so now that we just have some ink on the paper, I'm then going to move into the other colors that we've done. So let's do Grapefruit Grove here. I'm going to do the big flowers. Oh, this is such a gorgeous color. And I'm just going to stamp these randomly, just covering up the paper. Right now it feels like a kindergarten project, but in the end I know that it'll look really nice with everything on it. Just like the sampler frame with the paper pumpkin, that was really hard for me because it's not definite, you know, like it's not, you're not doing it perfectly. There we go. Okay, now let's move to Old Olive. So I'm trying to keep with the colors that are in our paper here. So I have Old Olive. I'm going to do some of these leaves. I like this look of it. And I could put it by these or wherever I want them. And like I said, a lot of this is going to be covered. So just move around with it. Okay. Then let's do one last one. I'm going to do the Rich Razzleberry. So this is a very dark color. So I am just going to go very lightly. I really don't want a dark print on this. Okay. So I'm not pressing very hard on the pad, and I'm okay if it's not giving me a clear image. I don't want it to be very dark. I can tell that this pad is really drying out. I'm going to have to put some ink on it. Okay, so that's all I want to do. All right, so our background is all set now. So now is going to be putting our squares on. So our 3x3 squares. So a lot of the stamping is done. We're not going to do any more stamping for these squares. We'll see. I do want to put the statement of the heart on this. I just haven't figured out where yet. So first I'm going to lay out where I want my squares. So color-wise. And see how a lot of it is covered up, but I like how it shows through. And that's the important part to me. Okay, so I'm going to do it like that. And then you just kind of want to match the designer series paper with whichever color will work best with it. And you can, the thing I like about doing it now is you can always change this up. It doesn't have to be definite. There we go. That looks so cute. Okay, and then we're going to emboss this and put it right here, okay? So what I'm going to do, because I know that my squares are going to go here, I'm going to start gluing them down. So what I'm going to do first is attach the designer series paper into the square, just because that part I know is easier for me to lay out, okay? So I'm going to speed this up. Just attach your designer series paper to all of your cardstock squares, but not to the frame yet. Okay, so now that all my squares are attached to my cardstock, what I'm going to do is emboss this. So I'm going to teach you a little bit something new. I have done it in my previous videos. I am going to ink this up. I want a little bit of I don't want just an indent, I want it to be ink. So what you do for this is you take your ink pad, so I'm going to use Mint Macaron, and I'm just going to gently tap on this. I just want the impression here to be a little bit inked. Okay, so I'm pressing down, and we'll have to see how it comes out because I may not like that. Let's see. We're gonna actually, I'm gonna do it on the side that is raised instead. Okay, so I am just tapping up and down on the side of the embossing folder that has the imprint up. Okay, so you can feel it. It's bumpy. It's not indented. Okay, so I just want to make sure it gets fully inked. You could use a wipe and wipe off excess if you'd like. What I'm going to do now, and it's okay, it's going to get inked on both sides, but that's fine. I want to place this exactly where it's going to go, and I'm going to close this gently. This is the issue, is that you don't, once you close this with ink on it, you don't want it to move. Okay, so you want to make sure that it's straight and it's exactly where you want it before you put it down. Okay, that's where I want it. Now I'm going to roll it through my Big Shot. All right, so now we're back. Let's see if that turned out the way I wanted it to. Oh, it's so pretty. It did. Okay, so what I did was, instead of it just being blank, what it's now done is it's added some accent to it. This side didn't really work. You have to use the side that's going to press into the paper. So now I have this. I could trim it if I wanted to. I could cut around these flowers. I haven't decided yet. We will see. Oh, and the ink is wet, so just be careful. Let that dry. While that's drying, we are going to put our little squares on here. So there's two options for this. We can take these Post-it notes, which I like to do, and reattach them on the side that's stamped now, just as a precaution of where we're going to put our squares. Okay, so I'm just going to take these and start lining them up where I want my squares. It helps me just to line everything up, because otherwise, once you glue them down, it's hard to make any kind of changes. Okay, when I have all my Post-its down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one up and lay one down at a time, and then adhesive it down. Okay, so I'm going to speed this up, but I do one at a time just so I can look at the other Post-its and figure out where I need this placed. Okay, now that all of my squares are done, you can tell that's kind of something you might want to stand up and format just so that it's easier for you to see everything. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this, and I think I'm going to leave it in a square just because I like how it looks. And what you can do is you can add some of the stamping onto it in order just to give it more of an accent. And then I am going to put the statement of the heart in it as well. So my first thought is that I might want to try to stamp over this, but there's so many different indentations that what I might do is just stamp the sentiment on another piece of paper and put it on this, or put this a little bit higher and put the statement. I haven't figured it out yet. So what I think I'm going to do is I'll place this right in the center just how it is. I will put some extra little stamping around it just to give it a little bit more of some accents here. Again, I'm just going to lightly stamp. I really don't want a full image here. I'm just trying to add a little bit of color here, and you can do this on a pierce mat so you get a nice clear image. But again, I'm just trying to add a little bit of texture, so if it's not a perfect print, I'm not going to be upset. Okay. And then you can do some of the flowers if you want. So I'm going to use the Grapefruit Grove. And add some of these flowers along with these greeneries. There we go, that makes it better. I didn't really like the green by itself. This will, I think, kind of tie the whole picture together because you're bringing in all the colors that are shown, just like that. So I'm going to adhesive this down, and it has the embossed image on this, so you want to just make sure you put a lot of adhesive on it so that it's definitely going to stay where you want it. I'm going to center this the best that I see. Okay, so there's that, making sure it's really pushed down. And then I'm going to do the statement of the heart. So here it is: to love what we do and share what we love. It's just the one stamp in here. I'm going to put this on a block, and I want to do it in a dark color. So I'm going to do it with Rich Razzleberry. And I'm just going to take, I want just something that will fit it. So I found a scrap. I'm going to get this nice and inked. Make sure you have your pierce mat out, so you get a nice crisp image here. Press and hold down. There we go. Look how cute it is. Okay, and then I can kind of decide where I want to put this, okay? So I could put it in the center. It really covers up a lot of the flower, which is what I really wanted it to be, the focal point, but I gotta say, I really like it right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut this down. So what I'm going to do is just kind of round it aware, you know, not aware, where the movements are. Okay. That way we'll get as much of the flower as possible. Okay, so there we go. Put that right in the center. I love that. And then you could put this on dimensionals if you want. I'm just going to put adhesive on the back. Put it right in the center of the flower. There we go. There is our sampler frame using the Share What You Love product suite. I hope you love it. I do. I think it is so stinking cute. And even though we cover up the flower, I like the little accents that it creates, and I like the busyness of it. This is a perfect way to show off all the designer series paper, and it's a great gift. So if you're a demonstrator, this would be an awesome gift you could give to a new team member or someone that just joined your Stamp 10 club. And as a stamper, you could give this as any kind of holiday gift, and it would definitely entice me to want to know what Stampin' Up! Is. You could do a group get-together where you make this together. I'd really love it. So now I'm going to put it in a frame, and you'll get to see the finished product, so stay tuned. Here we are with the finished product in a gorgeous gold frame that really accents all of the foil specialty designer series paper in our adorable frame. I hope you liked this. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Make sure to hit that red subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss any future videos with me, the Wonderland Stamper. Go back to my Paper Pumpkin Stampin' Sunday for April 2018 where I made a sampler frame with that paper pumpkin. There are giveaway details in that video for this month's giveaway for the next paper pumpkin that comes out in May. So you don't want to miss that. I'm doing it a new way. So make sure you head over there and see what those instructions are. For now, keep stamping, Stampers. Bye.